final primary to cover. We'll cover the research. Um, Pretty straightforward. Scoring wise, every podcast, everyone has covered this. You need to be contesting all four every turn of the game, or else your opponent will, and you will lose. It's obviously a little simplified, but I'm just going to talk about what four I like to contest with Commander Vader and where I like to deploy him. Um, I'll say we'll cover the research. Maybe one I avoid the most, but not necessarily bad. We'll cover the research because, again, we're assuming we're playing blue player. I am certainly in the camp. Drawing. I'm in the camp. I like to play these four if possible. On my two far sides, what I'd consider my weak side. I love throwing scouts if there's good terrain for them to hide and then keep contesting. I like dewbacks, nice big blobs that are courage. Ideally, courage 2, though. Just because, okay, so why I say that is I like to. Commander Vader often ends up on this POI. I'll just say that. The way I play it, the way I usually end up, I'm on that far one. And so to get here, sometimes I end up over here. And sometimes I'm right there. If I'm right here, range 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, look at my courage bubble. It is not touching either of those POIs. So this is one you definitely need to be careful of. Commander Vader, you feel like you're going to the center, but the other POIs are so far away from you. If you end up on this side of the POI, if you stay to this side, now you're safe for 1, 2, 3, 4. You're still it's going to be really close. There's a chance you aren't going to be able to help this. So I do like courage 2 units if possible on my far POI, just so that Vader does have that flexibility. And ideally, they're not going to worry about getting suppressed. Ideally, the rest of my army all over back here is shooting and makes it so that I can save, I'm really drawing garbage here, but, I really like having the bulk of my army kind of here. I like to have something that can contest this way if I need to. That's not a bad option as well for like a dewback to just double move, try to get into melee, trying to hold the POI. But my preference and what I've most often played, usually okay to burst of speed, their turn 2. Now if I take the infiltrate, don't take my surges, then I think I'm trying to think. I think if you're infiltrating, which is probably a good option, it just gets risky. I don't like it. I'll say what I've most often done is taken my surges and then walked onto the board and then implacabled turn 2 to get there safely with my 3 speed, 3 moves. You probably don't even need to. If you really walk, say if you actually were to deploy here, you walk straight, you're going to be like here. Yeah, you probably can just burst of speed twice, but that gets a little iffy. You might not be as safe. So I'm usually implacable for it. Now, if you infiltrate, you have way more flexibility, of course. If you start here, now you can end basically any terrain around this area, this far forward in the board, now you can easily move around, double burst of speed to get on there. Of course, if you're burning the burst of speed, you obviously are never leaving to get to the other POIs, so you're stuck. I can see a pretty solid argument, let's just clean this up a little, pretty solid argument that, Vader, if you don't burst of speed, what can you do? Well, if you infiltrate, and let's talk about this one. Let's say if I infiltrate right here, double speed 1 move, say if there's a good piece of terrain, and then double speed 1 move, I could be on there. Totally reasonable, totally possible. And now let's say I'm actually playing for these 3. Like I have my people here, here, and here. I have courage 2 units obviously over here to safely contest, score my VPs. Well, if Vader does some damage, turn 3, turn 4 and now there's not many enemies here anymore at all, well, maybe I want a burst of speed, implacable. Probably don't even need implacable, you just burst of speed to this POI. Probably would need implacable, but I could even go to that POI. I could come back and save my army. Say if I cleaned up this POI, I could send some units that are less valuable than Vader, aka everything, and Vader can go backwards to kill his some of my POIs or the other enemy ones. But that's just my thought, some just basic thoughts for you to think of. If you save burst of speed, just you keep yourself with more options, and you might be happy you did. Very likely. The one thing is I find about this one is most opponents don't really want to abandon it. Say, imagine if you're a red player, if they abandon this POI, now they have to play. So I get a different color. I do really bad at the drawing thing, but like if your opponent's red, now they have to try to contest either probably those two and then one of this one or that one. So they really that's usually why I put Vader onto this POI. The enemy's center POI. Just what I find works for me, what I'd recommend. Again, I do often burst of speed, but I'd say I'd 50%. I usually burst of speed turn 2, but I'd say I'm 50-50 on if you should be infiltrating for it. Again, as we feel like I've hinted at from a lot of these videos, but what does your opponent have? Do they have a lot of melee threats? Do they have arcs that Vader's going to be fighting? Because if you need the surges, you need the surges. So that's what I got for Cover the Research. Again, another fun mission. Not my favorite. And I don't think it doesn't really lean into Vader's strengths. But like certainly playable. Courage Bubble is really nice for this one. I mean, you think of other armies have to think more about their contesting and panicking is even really scary. Basically, as long as you have a living unit on the POIs and Vader, you're probably going to be safe. And again, what we talked about, having a Courage 2 unit or 2 for your very far POIs. Just be careful on that one. So that's what I got. And that's the last of my main primaries that I got with Commander Vader. Woo! We did it. Time to talk about something else.